America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Okay. So next up is approval of the agenda.
Roll call.
Roll call, sorry. Okay, I just checked it off. I don't know why I didn't. Okay. Reveal.
Meg Quinn.
And Elizabeth Ricketson. And Josh and Maya are absent. Okay. Okay, approval of the agenda.
I move that we approve the agenda.
I second it.
Any, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, fair. Okay, so first order of business is to approve the governance changes. If you recall, we had sent a few minor changes back to legal. They had approved it once. Then we sent a few minor changes back, mainly to reference the OOORA or whatever that thing is. Uniform Owner, yeah, the UOR Act, and cosigner, I think was the other thing. And so they came back and made a couple of minor changes that you have the copy in front of you. The blue changes were either things that we had made or they had made in the past and that we had already approved. The red is what they are made changes on, and they are very small. They're basically just wording.
Yeah, they're worried.
Yeah.
But they make sense.
Yeah, and you know, there on that very last page, there's a that whole paragraph that's taken out. We'd already done that, and we had moved that to a different recommendation document that we'd sent. So I think only thing we need to do is approve these very small wording changes, and then we should be done with the governance. Like,
If I could, there was only one comment I had on H.
okay,
Any occupant's lease agreement must be 3 months or longer. Preference will be given to lease agreements 6 months or longer. And I know we've kind of batted this one around. I think my preference would be that 6 months be the minimum, but I wanted to hear back from you guys on what that might look like.
so we had talked about that fairly at length, because there are some people that just come for winter or, you know, summer season, and so, and so although the resort has housing there may be some that, you know, come just for those seasons, and that's why we kept it at 3 months, so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think most people are gonna be here 6 months to a year at least, and they're trying to get housing through us, but I think it just leaves your options open.
Yeah, I think when we're saying there, we are definitely giving preference for 6 month or longer lease, but you know, if there's availability.
If you had to.
Yeah,
We have, yeah.
if there's a need and that's,
If we find that becomes a problem, like we end up. I mean, I'm okay with the change, but I still think we should probably leave it at 3, at least through these first rounds, just to see what kind of applicants we get. You know, what if we only get applicants?
Yeah,
for
what
3
if we
months?
wanna kick them out in 3 months?
Yeah.
Don't have to renew their contract.
Right,
So, Madam Chairman, I can tell you right now, there are, at least for the first round being these first 6,
mm-hmm,
there's 6 village employees chomping at the bit right now.
okay,
So,
Okay.
I mean,
Bonnie,
I don't
What if
see
you
it
had
being a
empty
problem, and I
places
understand
in your room, so we had a big fire?
the 3
You
months
could rent them out for 3 months.
possibility, but,
mm-hmm.
yeah.
well, and as we fill them, yeah, we'll, you know, definitely, I think we won't have an issue filling them with longer term.
It is, to your point, a self-correcting problem, right? If you have 80 applicants, they're all willing to sign a 1-year lease, well, they're gonna get preference over anyone who wants a 3-month lease. It's just,
Right,
that was my only concern is, I don't think we do want it to turn into seasonal. You know, we would rather have year-round,
mm-hmm,
you know, in that stepping stone of, you know, workforce housing phase 1, hopefully to phase 2, and then potentially if that employee's here long enough, home ownership would be long term. So again, I don't think as written, it's a problem. I just wanted to make sure I had
Yeah.
feedback from all of you on the 3-month setup, so.
yes,
And Madam Chair, the other thing, I don't know that it's in here. But the shorter the lease, the higher the rate should be.
Okay, I mean, I don't think we have anything in our governance related to rates.
I didn't see anything in there, but just so you guys know,
Okay,
because y'all are gonna continue to be involved in this process.
Okay.
We probably are gonna charge more for a 3-month lease because the cost is gonna be more.
mhm,
If we have turnover,
yeah.
there's cost associated with that turnover.
Is that something that we need to have in the governance, or is that something we can say, okay, property manager that we, give this, the actual execution to is going to be doing that, and they're gonna be working on the leases and the rents?
So, and I'm not sure, since this is all new, exactly how you guys are gonna be involved, but the rates will have to be set in resolution by the council.
Okay.
Okay.
At least,
So y'all can make a recommendation on rates, but
Okay.
we can't bill anything out that's not in resolution or ordinance.
That's.
Okay, so,
Listen,
yes,
Joe says you can come if you need a form, or you can call in.
it's up to him. If he wants an update, he can call in, but we don't need it for the quorum.
Okay, I'll just.
Just tell him that. I had a thought, hold on. So in the property management agreement, is there anything there related to minimum 6 months, minimum 3 months at all?
No,
Okay,
that only exists right here in the governance document.
okay.
There's a term.
Yeah,
In the actual lease, yeah, there's a.
there's a term in the lease, but I just want to make sure that we didn't
But
sign.
it doesn't specify
Okay.
a minimum length.
Okay, I just want to make sure we didn't agree with them that,
Right.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
property management
Well-
agreements, yeah, not gonna have that.
If it's okay, let's leave it at 3 months, but then if we find that 3 months is never gonna be applicable to us, then we can adjust it. And I think based on the changes to the governance, just says, changes to this governance require approval by the committee or council. So if at some point, if we take out the 3 months, that's not gonna have to go back to legal.
It-
Would it?
It really should say, so this is a policy
Mhm.
and all village policies have to be approved by council. So it should say the committee and council.
Okay,
Because the normal way it works is the committees make recommendations to the council for approval. So the final approval has to rest with the council, the governing body.
Okay. all right, we can do that. That shouldn't be a problem.
Well, and another thing that's not in here, as an example, there's not a pet policy in here, which we're not asking you to add. But there could be terms added to the lease as the village is going back and forth with the property manager. I don't know if you all know, we've been back and forth with the property manager's contract, and it went back to council then last night to get approved. So there will be some more negotiation. It just, in the interest of speed, trying to write a perfect lease agreement with this body and council and the property manager would have been a little bit too much back and forth, I think.
I think our original intent was, we had comments in the recommendations to council about including a pet policy in the lease agreement.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily government, but in the lease agreement, so. Okay, so with that one change of or to and, are we good with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do not think that has to go back to legal, does it?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right, so do I have a motion to approve the changes recommended by legal in our workforce housing and governance?
I recommend that we pass this on.
Okay,
As amended.
as amended, yeah, with the one word and.
A second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passed. Okay, all right, now we're up to an update from Counselor Crane. And Rocky, who he's doing. Rocky's update.
So I'll give both updates. Some of you have already mentioned, you've seen the units that have come through town. There are 4 in town as of right now, and the other 2 are supposed to be here by Monday. So that will put all 6 in town before Christmas. As far as the site preparation goes, 5 of the 6 foundations, the slabs are in, with the 6 scheduled to be completed before the end of the weekend. From a process, what that's gonna look like is the home will set on the slab. That is all of the foundation that it needs. And the plan will be to put the stem wall in after the first of the year. Unfortunately, we have very favorable weather
Yeah,
for doing such work.
Yes.
I say unfortunately because, you know,
we need snow.
we need snow.
Yeah.
Money-making season is upon us and, the village is highly dependent upon GRT, as all of our businesses are for the tourism. So we're all hoping for more snow, but it is a stroke of luck for construction that they're gonna be able to get all of that done. So the contractor that is delivering is also the installing contractor, so they will handle all of the hookups. So we anticipate that after the first of the year, the stem walls will begin. The appliances are already here. If you remember, there were some things that didn't come with the homes. Rocky got a great Black Friday deal on the appliances for all 6 of these. Those appliances are currently being stored at the airport. We also have been working with our maintenance departments and our contractors about kind of what I would call punch list items. So we have, extra interior paint. So if we need to go in and match something, we're gonna have to install the appliances. We'll have to, check doors and warranty things and items like that. We don't anticipate getting a C of O until January, till the stem walls and everything are in. So that will be when the state comes to do their inspection, that these have been installed and hooked up properly and can legally be occupied. So we are hoping for occupancy of these 6 units in February.
They're also gonna be concrete like we talked about.
So they are going to be cinder block and then stuccoed after. So they are a cinder style block that will be built basically in the gap. So the unit will already be sitting there and they poured the concrete in such a way that the cinder block will set on the concrete and then go up to the bottom of where the skirting would end.
And I'm assuming they'll have ability to access underneath the trailer.
Yes, where
Plumbing and all
where
that.
needed, exactly,
Yeah.
yeah. There have been some other,
Great.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mice and.
Yeah,
there's been some other, Rocky's been handling a lot of this, obviously, on the fly, so you have to build the stem wall and insulate it because all your plumbing is under there. We're also directing the installer to heat tape the water line, just for that. Hey, we get a lot colder up here than is typical in other areas, so what other kind of cheap insurance can we do to keep lines from freezing and those types of things? There's been a few other items that we didn't realize weren't coming along. Some of you may have seen Rocky's presentation last night, steps. We didn't know we weren't getting any steps. So steps is something that Rocky has already got prices on, I think from 2, if not 3 vendors, and we're gonna be looking to order those pretty quickly. Again,
as far as the steps, I'm assuming we had talked about doing dormers over the front door for sure. So I'm assuming the steps over the front door are going to be a temporary installment.
that kind of depends. So there's a few other things happening in the background here. I had a meeting with Manager Ware, what was that, last Monday was our ICAP meeting? So we are currently in capital expenditure season because legislative session is coming up.
Okay.
So we have asked for, in relation to this project, actually a grant that would fully pay for the remaining balance of the 24 units.
Okay,
And we're not guaranteed to get that, but I think we have a pretty good shot. The state is wanting to spend money on these types of things. So the dormer decision is gonna come down to a budget item. Depends on, do we get the grant? I think right now, in talking to the mayor and manager and several, we are really optimizing for is how low can we get these rents? The closer to $1,000 a month, we feel like the better that's gonna be for the project health long-term. And while we might love dormers, if there's money there, the dormer absolutely makes sense. So right now, we're just finding the 6 steps because you have to have steps to get a C of O. You gotta be able to get in and out of, and it's 2 per unit, because there's front and back, you have to have a legal ingress egress, and without steps, that door doesn't count. So right now, we're basically, we're in the mode of what do we have to do to get these 6 here, get them installed and get them occupied legally as quick as we can.
Okay.
Contractor.
Gomez, I think
Yeah.
is his name?
Fernando.
Fernando.
we're not, he goes by Felix?
No, Frank, I believe is the name.
I'm not sure. I've not met the contractor. It is the same contractor that is delivering and installing the units, and they're also doing the stem walls and foundation, right? It's all
Yeah,
one.
this is what they do.
This is what they do. They're,
Yeah, Cuesta?
I thought it was Taos, actually.
Oh, okay.
They're, It's not a big city. So
Yeah.
Okay.
So one contractor, which has been nice because it's one person to work with, and unfortunately, he's been the one to be like, oh, you don't have this, you gotta go steps, so.
Yes,
Yes, Madam Chair, the one thing I'd like to add to what Councilor Creighton had to say is, we decided, right now, we're gonna get the steps the way they are, because we're not sure on the finances.
Mhm.
But the steps we're getting, will be, if we just have the money to do the dormers, we'll pull them off and use them as
Use
back
back steps,
steps
yeah.
on other units.
that's good. That's kind of what I was thinking too. Okay.
So, and it's been great. I mean, I think, you know, there's been some learning and some teething struggles here, but one of the upsides of doing it this way is we've done 6 now, or will have done 6, and
Mhm.
figured out all these gotchas and things that you didn't anticipate. So the dormers are still a want, not a gotta have.
Sure.
But I do think it would make sense, and to Manager Weir's point, if we can then just have 30 front dormers and 60 back steps, that might be the compromise that ends up happening. The ICAP grant awards, we will know by the end of February whether or not we get those.
Is that for just this one here?
Well, we put in for multiple projects, but for the workforce housing, for all of them, these are basically awards either from a state senator or the governor's office
Okay.
where we can get cash for a specific project.
Because we had also put in some grants, I thought some grant requests on 3 different properties for future projects, the one out on the highway, the one by Allen Fields, and another one somewhere else, I
Correct.
don't remember.
That was with the North Central Economic Development District, so a different funding route.
Okay. And so when you get a chance, give us an update on that too, but if you're not finished with the other, go ahead.
Technically, what we've applied for isn't a grant, it's an appropriation.
Right,
Okay.
sorry.
So your legislature in New Mexico, your legislatures and your governor are given tranches of money
Mhm.
that they can allocate however they want, basically, within the
Okay.
law. And so that's an appropriation. And generally, there's no gotchas, it's either you get the money or you don't.
So the appropriation, is that one of those things, kind of like what we have now, where they say, okay, we're gonna appropriate this amount to Angel Fire for workforce housing, and then they reimburse us for our spend, or is it they're just gonna give us a tranche of money?
It's gonna be reimbursement.
Okay,
And it was, we all sat down and kind of, you know, eyeballed based on some of the things that we've missed and have to add. Here's what we think it would take to pay for the balance of the 24 units
okay,
delivered, installed, set,
okay,
all of that. So if we get that money, well, then we would own the dirt and the mobile homes free and clear and could operate them as we see fit.
So you know, like 30-year thing, like the grant, where you have to rent them for 30 years.
Well, so the property is already encumbered that way because we got the $2.9 million, that grant that we've accepted. And if we've been reimbursed, I think almost $800,000 that we've been
Mhm.
reimbursed so far. That grant has encumbered that property to only be this now for, I believe it's a term of 30 years.
yeah, and
Regardless of whether we get this additional funding or not.
Okay.
Sorry.
It depends on the terms of the appropriation, but they could ask us to hold this for workforce housing and forever,
indefinitely.
indefinitely.
Okay,
So it could change from 30 years but it's not gonna be less than 30.
Well, that's fine, yeah.
So but that would, instead of going out and needing to work with, you know, another funding source to figure out how we're going to get the other 24 here, it would be, we have an appropriation, you know,
Mhm.
get a PO, give a check and then get reimbursed.
would we still work with Sustainable Partners for those, or would we do them on our own like we've done these?
If we get the appropriation, I suspect we would do them exactly as we've done the other 6.
Okay,
There would be no need to involve sustainability in the project because there would be no financing gate there.
okay,
One other technical item that is still to do, so Director Epler's Public Works, for those of you that know Director Epler, had to work quite hard to get the overhead power lines and Kit Carson situation settled. If you'll remember, this is a pressurized sewer system, and after the mobile home is installed there, then you go in and put what's called a grinder pump in front of that unit that takes all of the sewage out of the unit, grinds it, pumps it into the pressurized system. That will be something that will have to be done after the units are in place. We have a representative from the company is gonna come up and train the water department individuals. Grinder pumps are not something that everyone has done, and so we're gonna have them come up and show us how this works. Director Epler's done a lot of them, so he has a familiarity with it. That's really the only technical concern.
Pressurized.
So instead of gravity,
Okay.
this is,
Pushing.
yep, instead of flushing via downhill with gravity, there is now a pump basically at the curb in front of your home that pulls when
Okay,
you flush and pushes into the rest of the system.
that's better.
Well, it had to do, the reason we did that is the slope in the back of the lot. We would have had to do a lot more dirt work in order to get the necessary slope to do a gravity fed versus pressurized system.
I was just curious.
Yep, yeah, not uncommon. You see it in places that have large elevation changes like us, so, that's how it was designed. It ended up being, a very robust system that was cheaper to install versus another $1 million of dirt work or whatever that number would have been to regrade the entire lot to make that work. So, there have been some other steps taken. Rocky has gone out and bought a large number of 2 foot by 2 foot by 2 inch pavers, because we want to try to create walkways to these units,
Yeah.
the curb and gutter's not in, and if we are successful in occupying these in February, well, come March, April, May, it's gonna be muddy around there, so how do we create some walkways so that people can get to these units as easily as possible? So, I apologize again, Rocky couldn't be here, but he has really been head down, kind of working through all these issues as they pop up, so.
So are we gonna pave those two streets?
For sure, the back portion. So last night also at council meeting, these 2 roads got officially named.
Yeah, we're gonna bring that up, yeah,
So this is now West Flamingo Road
from the entrance from the highway,
from the entrance to the highway, and the cul-de-sac is Rocky Road.
which I thought was, I love it, yeah.
So Rocky Road for sure is going to have to be paved with curb and gutter
Okay.
because of the drainage that's there. I'm not sure about West Flamingo Road. I don't know that that's why.
Our intent is to curb and gutter it all.
Oh, okay.
We haven't budgeted to curb and gutter the whole thing.
Okay, good.
So you still think it'll fit 30? Because they look awfully big.
Yeah, well, so, one thing that did happen, unfortunate mix up. So we had asked for all of the large units to come first. And in one of the last batches, they sent us one of the small units.
Mhm.
It's pretty tight in maneuvering these things.
Mhm.
So they have to be installed in a particular order. And so you're seeing some set in places where they're not.
Not
gonna
gonna
live.
do it, yeah.
So,
So,
a lot go out.
a couple questions.
Yep.
So, on the entrance, did that all get resolved? Does Zeb still have their own entrance and then the entrance to West Flamingo Road and then the entrance to the hardware store, or is that getting redone some way?
I don't want to say for sure, because I've heard it both ways. That's a state DOT question. And initially it was, oh no, you have to have Zeb's lose their entrance and Alpine lose one of their entrance and gain new entrances off of Flamingo Road. But I have heard it say, nope, not a big deal. And I don't know the official answer to that question.
It's not
today.
our decision. We have plans that were approved by DOT. We have to comply with them. So we will build connections into those 2 parking lots.
And then
Whether
DOT
they
can-
delete theirs, and that's up to DOT. We
Okay.
can't force them to do that.
But both businesses are aware, and my understanding is I've seen the plans for that alternate entrance off of West Flamingo Road now, and there has not been any pushback on that.
Okay, okay. And then what about, once they get the C of Os, is it possible for us to, as committee members, to take a little tour?
Sure, I mean,
Okay.
we wouldn't even, I guess technically, the C of Os, some village, I know the water guys were telling me how much they liked the appliances today. 'Cause when they're out there doing work, I think they're already kind of sneaking a peek, so.
Okay,
I think it would really be up to Manager Weir and Director Epler when we feel like that would be safe enough to take the group through.
We have 1 unit that's set already,
mm-hmm,
and that unit we could go tour. You can't tour them until they're set.
okay. Yeah, that, I mean, and I don't want to be in the way,
Sure.
like, of any vehicles that are coming through. Like, if their units are coming on Monday, don't want to do it on that day.
Right.
Maybe we plan for
After the
after
holidays.
the holidays, maybe would be good.
Have a ribbon cutting.
Well, that would be up to these guys.
I think, that may be something, we do a very quick ceremonial ribbon cutting right before, we occupy.
Yeah,
As far as future dates go, the hope is, we don't know when this committee is gonna need to meet again for work product. That may be in January, it may be in February, but, between now and then, units will be set. They will have foundations, they will have stem walls, they will have appliances installed. So maybe if we wait a little closer to actual occupancy date and coinciding with whatever the next meeting needs to be.
Mhm.
I think it's a great idea for late January.
Okay, all right, so, and then, can you also give us an update on the lease, the property management agreement? I mean, I kind of got it last night, but I think.
So-
committee.
That contract has been back and forth several times. It came back in front of council last night with some, basically what I'll call the final language, what our legal and what the property manager's legal could agree to. There was some weirdness in there about indemnification. There was some strange New Mexico state law controls here, and we as a public entity can't indemnify a private entity. So there was quite a bit of back and forth on how that language needed to get sorted out. It was ultimately approved last night, so it will get presented back to the property manager. Once that agreement is signed upon, then it will be time to sit down with the property manager and start working on the policy and actually developing the first lease
Okay,
and the process. We have asked them for, so they will be in charge of the lease itself with input from us, obviously. The one thing we added was we want a list of all applicants. If you remember back, the committee from a first come, first served basis, we wanted to make sure that the village retained a copy of the lease so we could let people know, hey, you're number 75th in line. Because we do anticipate a large number of applicants that the property manager is gonna have to screen first for income requirements. Do they meet the state and federal requirements here? And I suspect we're gonna have a lot of applicants who are like, great, workforce housing, and we're gonna have to tell them, sorry, you make too much money to qualify, so on to the next. So that list is gonna get maintained, as part of the agreement, but there's gonna be a lot of communication between, us and the property manager once the contract is
mhm.
accepted.
Tomorrow.
So the property management office was a bit of a discussion last night. They have an office in Rio Rancho,
Okay.
which is what they used for, this contract. I don't know, in New Mexico, to be a property manager, you have to be a qualifying
Qualifying broker, yeah.
broker. And this the individual is, they also do property management and we're not their only client in state. But the property manager splits time between here and Texas and Rio Rancho. So as far as the paperwork is concerned, the Rio Rancho office is their office for this contract.
So, and just to clarify, the property manager knows that they need to verify that the applicants are employees of village. Either
Licensed businesses or,
licenses in the, yeah, and so they've got a review process, I'm assuming, for that.
so we haven't put that all on paper yet because they haven't accepted, obviously, the
Okay.
contract of, here's what we're paying you for these services.
Mhm.
Once that contract is done, we're then going to have to work on policy with them of, okay, what's your standard procedure? And we missed a step. It's government, you have to add this step. So that will be something that we go back and forth on. Again, in the interest of time, had we not been delayed those many months of waiting for the actual grant process, that might have been something we did here with this committee, but
That's fine.
we basically have January 1 till February 1 to hammer out all those details, and there'd just be no way to reasonably do that.
Well, and you've got the recommendations in the governance
Correct.
from us, so, I mean,
Right.
that's,
That's what this,
yeah,
that's,
that's what you're gonna,
this document is supposed to be the intent of this committee to
Right.
council,
Right.
right,
that then we then enforce with the property manager to,
right.
And so
And
this
you
answers
have
a lot
the,
of
you have the
questions.
document with the recommendations that we sent, like back in October or something like that.
Yep.
Okay. What were you gonna say, Megan?
I just said this answers a lot of questions,
Right,
not just for council, but for anybody who's gonna be executing,
Okay.
property management.
okay,
Did we get through all the legal with the grant? There was some legal wording that last time that was holding.
no, the grant is finalized. Like I mentioned, we've been reimbursed so far. It's approaching $800,000 of reimbursements. So that is working, is functioning
Okay.
as it's supposed to. It will obviously continue, what we're gonna spend every dime of the 2.9 million here in very short order finishing this project. That grant isn't timed out until I believe it's 2030. We're not gonna take nearly that long. I suspect that every penny of that grant will be done the moment that curb and gutter starts.
yeah,
So come May, June, those funds will be entirely expended.
One other thing that Rocky mentioned last night was they're taking the axles and the wheels off of the units and they're actually gonna sell those. So then they think they've got a buyer. So that will go back into the workforce housing fund, I'm assuming, right?
I don't think that will be a large amount of money, but there will be some funds, so, and we don't wanna store them.
Yeah.
You know, as Manager Weir mentioned, those homes are encumbered there for a very long time. Let's not store tongues and axles for 30 years.
Right.
No point there.
Can we go with low lighting in order for the dark skies committee? Can we go with low lighting?
You know, I haven't even looked at that. I am on about my 8th revision of the dark sky ordinance, so that is on my January agenda. I don't know what these came with as far as exterior lighting. My guess is it's one light for the exterior doors only. So,
For each door.
yeah,
Front and back, yeah.
yeah, so I will say if they're not dark sky, the current draft ordinance is based on what Breckenridge, Colorado has done. And if at such time that will get adopted, there's a mechanism to take where you can see a bulb and modify the
Mhm.
canister around it, in other words. So, something that we could do when the time comes, but as is, that has not, been passed yet. We're not really making decisions on it so
I
far.
might donate 6 for the first 6 units. I want to keep my dark skies.
Sure.
So the other grants that we applied for, have we ever heard back on those?
So I believe you're talking about the paperwork that we gave to the Economic Development District, and, what's the right way to say this? Those were less formal grant applications and more about giving North Central Economic Development District live projects as they're going into legislative session to say, hey, earmark us funds.
Okay.
So this is a process where we say, hey, we've got these 3 projects identified, here's what we think the budgets are. Please go to the representatives that they have pull with and try to, set some money aside at this upcoming legislative session. So
Mhm.
what I think is gonna happen with those is if that money gets set aside in February, as legislation is wrapping up, that then we will say, hey, we were one of the ones that helped you get that money. How do we apply to actually get it?
Right.
Right.
Yeah, because I think, if I think back to the different types of housing that we reviewed, there, it might be a good idea, if we get one of those grants, might be a good idea to do something a little different,
They're just
especially,
3D over in Taos,
they're doing what?
3D.
3D
house.
printed homes.
3D printed homes? Oh, okay.
If you've seen those, they're supposed to be. I don't know when that project is coming out of the ground, but I think I read the same
They
article. you
started
did,
it
so.
and then they got.
Is it concrete 3D?
Yes.
Actually, I met a contractor recently out of Colorado Springs that does the 3D concrete.
Mhm.
So be interesting to see, but
Usually they can
these,
do it
I was,
in days.
I'd be interesting to look into that, but the ones that I really liked were the ones that were out of Buena Vista.
Yes,
Colorado.
modular.
Yeah, those were nice. So those would be good.
So as far as future projects go, again, we don't see the end of phase 1 yet, but theoretically, come June or July, when all of the concrete, all of the asphalt work is done, phase 1 may be complete and fully occupied. So come springtime, we're gonna need to really start focusing on phase 2 dirt, phase 2 product, whether that's the modulars, the others. And because I believe, and I think we're gonna have these homes occupied exceedingly quickly.
Mhm.
So, and if they happen to already be paid for, thanks to, some of the work of getting extra funds from this upcoming session. Well, if we don't have any debt and we're done with phase 1, it's time to
Yeah.
plow ahead along into phase 2, so.
How are we going to advertise? I know we mentioned we have 6 applicants waiting in the wings. But are we going to post something on Facebook?
Our
Or,
website and
Yeah.
Facebook is our intent.
okay.
Yeah.
So that we'll have okay, and is that going to be something that somebody in the village is going to put together or?
So generally,
So creative or?
Yeah, so Caristo does all of our Facebook posting. This is a
Okay.
marketing company, for those of you who don't remember. They handle all the Facebook posts. We will have to integrate Caristo, and if the contract gets signed, Ham, what's the name of the property?
Ham Heritage, yeah.
Ham Heritage. So those folks are gonna have to talk to each other, and that's all gonna have to happen in January. If we're targeting a February C of O,
Yeah.
well, if we get 80 applicants for these 6 units, all of it are gonna take some number of days to screen.
Mhm.
We're gonna have to get that word out as soon as it's reasonable for us to do so.
Mhm.
So
wasn't Rocky committing us to that
to,
screening?
no, so the committee won't be doing the screening. That is tasked in the property manager's contract, that that's what they do.
I think the only thing that we would screen is if we had some exceptions. Like if somebody came and said, hey, you know,
Yes.
I'm a,
So-
whatever, I'm a doctor and I need housing for 6 months or something, you know, that while I look for, we had exceptions. that-
Yeah, so section K, special use exemptions.
Yeah.
Ultimately, that would have to be approved by council, but I would suspect if there's a council meeting that people might start showing up, hey, we need this.
Mhm.
They may come to you first, they may come to me first it's amazing how many questions I get when I'm checking my mail at the post office these days. Yeah, exactly, yes.
Do you have,
Not yet, but I've considered it.
So we don't feel like there's gonna be.
take your wife's car?
Yeah, I was kind of trying to, one of the questions I had tonight was what do we anticipate coming up in the coming year? So we don't really have we don't anticipate any new governance or anything like that unless something pops up as we learn and go.
Right,
But more kind of thinking about phase 2, what we might do there and.
well, and hopefully, we're gonna take some of the lessons from not only the construction of phase 1, but the occupation of phase 1. Whatever we learn as we're putting people in these units, hopefully we learn and adapt to, documents for phase 2. Or it may be that we wanna come in and add, language to the governance because phase 2 is different product or different terms, or in a perfect world, as we get to phase 3, which would be more the home ownership type opportunities, we know we're gonna have to add some work there because that's gonna be a different, there are different programs out there for down payment assistance and things like that are not necessarily captured in a phase 1 or 2, that phase 3 we may have to adopt into a governance, but that's long term.
If we get the grants. I mean, I guess we could, even if we don't get grant, maybe that would be something that we could consider.
Well, keep in mind, even if we don't get this grant, which is the grant or the allocation for phase 1, we are going to keep moving forward on phase 2, because the most likely way we're going to get grants for phase 2 is making it as shovel ready as possible.
Right, okay.
So developing, just like we did before, purchasing the dirt.
Right,
That was key in us getting the grants we've gotten so far, and if we're not gonna continue doing that work, the odds of us getting those grants go down. So acting as if phase 2 is coming out of the ground is the best way for us to keep applying for and receiving grants.
so maybe I don't know if maybe we'll have a meeting I'm just trying to think. Maybe we have a meeting like mid-February to get an update on I don't know.
The conversation I had with Rocky is, maybe a January, more than likely a February meeting, but
Okay.
as he's needing stuff or as questions are popping up, and that may dovetail in quite well with a tour date. If there's something that we need, whether it's for phase 1 or phase 2, great, let's have a meeting and then make sure Rocky has the keys on them and go walk through some of these
Okay.
homes, so.
So just keep us posted, but I think we'll just target a meeting towards the end of January, between January and maybe mid-February.
Yep.
And then we'll see what we can do there, and then we can maybe start, and then when will we know for sure about the legislative stuff?
Well, the governor's stuff, that will be end of February.
Okay.
We will know for sure if we got I think it was 4.5, I don't remember the exact number.
4.4.
It was enough to finish the 24 units that are not gonna be here by the end of the year.
And when do we need to start planning for the new, like if we, for example, we want to buy a piece of dirt because we got to get grants in by a certain date, I'm just thinking planning for that.
So I would think that, Rocky's time over the next 60 days is gonna be kind of all hands on deck. How do I
Sure.
finish this?
Right.
So I would say end of February, sometime into March.
Okay.
We're still not in building season, March, April up here yet. Hopefully, bring the snow, please bring the snow.
We'll be able to build.
Yeah. But March, April, I would think is gonna be our key time to what, if anything, is gonna happen in 2026 for phase 2.
Okay.
But there's a lot of dominoes to fall between now and then. Again, if phase one is paid for and
Yeah.
completed, then I think we can run a lot faster on phase two. If we end up having to do some financing or whatever it is on phase one, then that may change things a little bit, so.
Any other questions from anybody? Anything else from Brett or?
The only, Madam Chairman, the only thing I would like to add as we're thinking about phase two, the mayor would like to see that to be a stick-built, not necessarily site-built.
Okay.
But stick-built project,
Okay,
Phase
We
two.
didn't hear that.
phase two.
once it's stick-built versus site-built, so stick-built would mean not modular, basically.
No,
No, it would be modular.
It could be modular, but not like
Mobile
manufactured.
homes.
Yeah,
not
that was,
manufactured.
Brett, I was thinking the same thing. I
Right.
Yeah, I do too.
Okay.
So the primary difference these days anyhow, between the manufactured and the stick-built is the manufactured is that rectangular,
Mm-hmm,
you know, and you
Right.
can put two of them together.
right,
One can be taller than the other, that's about all. And a stick built, it could be anything, like my house was built in Albuquerque and brought up in 5 pieces and
okay,
assembled here. And most people wouldn't know if you just looked at it, from the inside or outside. But it is stick built, but it's not site built.
okay. And then I think some of these units that the new things that they're building, I think my understanding is on those is they build the first floor on site. And then they bring a module and stick it on the second floor. So that would be considered stick built because the first floor is actually built in place. So
Right.
the ones that they're gonna put on the other side of Zeb's, I think that's what they're doing there. I've met with one of the developer guys and about a different project and anyway.
And so that's, Madam Chair, that's exactly how my house is.
Mhm.
They did the foundation and it's really, the bottom floor is more of a walkout basement.
Okay,
And then they brought the 5 pieces on the building up above.
oh, okay, interesting.
It's not uncommon to see that done where you have like that walkout garage.
Sure.
And then start stacking living quarters on
Right,
top
on
of
top.
it, so.
Interesting. Okay. All right, so. Yeah, I think just we'll target some meeting towards anywhere from the end of January to mid-February, depending on what Rocky and Jake guide us towards, and then we'll do something in March, April to make plans.
Yeah, the only thing I would say is, if we could do a ribbon cutting, that would be awesome, especially once we get, as we get to the occupancy, right? So if we have the
Sure.
first tenants and the committee and the council, and that's kind of my thought.
I don't imagine that we're gonna miss that opportunity
Yeah.
for.
You know what, and I have
I'm not the only
to,
one.
Because we couldn't do it, quite frankly, with the groundbreaking. We just was so had to go.
Too much.
So we gotta find a time to let him break out the giant scissors at some point.
so just for scheduling, I know I'm always the problem child. I am gone from February 8th.
I think we should just plan to meet before you leave there.
Okay, February 8th through sometime in the end of February, I don't remember. So,
I'm sure we can come up with a time to do a ribbon
Right.
cutting before February 8th.
yeah, probably the first week of February would be good for that, if we can do it. If we may not have occupants, but we could at least have,
Even
You
if we
know,
don't have
Rocky-
occupants, you probably will have hopefully we'll have the leases set. So,
something like that.
Well, and it should be by the first or second week of January that all 6 units are there and have the stem all around them. So from the outside, the insides might not be done, appliance hookup and whatnot, but the outside should be pretty photo ready at that.
And we could get Christo to come take some pictures and post that on Facebook too.
Yeah.
Did we get washer and dryers?
Yes,
They're being stored out at.
yeah, all the appliances are out at the airport right now. Yeah, like I said, Rocky had a Black Friday sale that was
Great.
quite nice.
Do you need somebody to do the pavers?
No, I suspect that, I don't know which village department will set those pavers, but I don't think we could have you out doing the pavers.
No, not me.
Oh, no, I suspect that roads crew, maintenance crew, some of these are not large. I mean,
Probably maintenance.
yeah.
Yeah, well, I know the person that did it at the base with the chairlift
Hmm,
that was working for the village then, but he's
Okay.
in town now, but I can get you a hold of him.
sure.
Right, anything else? Anything exciting going on? Oh, one other thing. Village council last night had they approved some, what do you wanna call it, that you sent us today?
Oh, the,
Oh.
committee, commission and advisory board rules of procedure.
Yes, and so we do need, when we have our meeting, we need to add that to review. I mean, we can review it via email,
Mhm.
but I mean, we need to actually go over it, so maybe we have you kind of present that to us. Did you
Sure.
write those?
Got your
or-
next one? So
Yeah.
I sent it out to the chairman of the committees.
Right, so I'll review it. Are you wanting feedback? Is that?
Well,
what it is?
the intention would be to put it on the next council meeting, but what are your thoughts, Brett? Let it wait, cause I imagine they're gonna
Okay.
come back and have some.
Yeah, I guess then we will have enough time for the next council.
Right, cause I'll post it for the 2 weeks, but I think there's gonna be some input.
So you want
I mean,
feedback from
the
the
next
chair,
council meeting, we'll have a public hearing and
which is what day?
January 13th,
And what is this?
5:30.
It's like our rules of order for the meetings.
Yeah, these are policies and procedures, and just so you don't feel like you're being, this was not just for committees, this is also for council.
Yeah.
So this effort has been headed up to basically codify
Mhm.
how everyone is supposed to behave, to put forth a written policy so that if, you know, you ever have a problem, you've got something to refer back to. Actually, this is the policy you're supposed to be following. So it's not just this committee, it's all committees
Right, right,
and
right.
council as well, so.
So the action item is to provide feedback from the chair.
Correct.
And then we probably need to wait till it gets fully approved and then we can just, no, I mean, we could go over it.
provide your feedback before it's approved.
No, I mean, after it's approved, then do we go over it with the
Oh, then,
committee?
yeah, then we'll have like review with all of our committees
Okay,
once
so,
it's approved.
okay, so maybe we just wait. So if we have if the next meeting is, what'd you say, January 13th?
Correct.
Oh, by the time we have our meeting, they'll have approved
Yeah.
it unless there's more changes or something, and then so at our next meeting, let's put an action item in to review the new, whatever it's called, I'll send it to you.
Yeah, I'll get that from the, yeah.
Okay, okay,
It will include action items.
okay.
Committee measure.
Day of the week is the 13th.
Tuesday.
Tuesdays.
Well, if there's nothing else then,
Before you close, I
sorry.
just again want to thank this committee, in my opinion, and don't want to show favorites, but this committee has done more work than any other committee in the village. And the 1st of February, we'll have accomplished more. So I just want to thank y'all, that y'all have done great work.
Absolutely.
thank you.
Yeah.
Well, and I really have, I mean, a lot of the heavy lifting has been done by Jake and Rocky.
Yeah.
I mean, significant.
Well, and
You got a road named after.
He did.
What's that?
You got a road named after.
I know, that's pretty cool. I was happy for him.
No, Rocky has been, like I said, head down, every contract issue, every oopsie, oop, we forgot to include that. I mean, it's fallen on his shoulders and it's not his only project. You may or may not know, he's not as far along on it, but I think I just signed the check for the new fire station. Yeah, that building right there. So, he's got a lot on his plate and he has been working through it,
Is that going?
right next door.
Yeah, where the little where we, at one point we had temporary.
That's
Well, it's not
Yeah.
the transfer stations.
Yeah.
Right? Or not, just like.
So the comp plan is not done yet. The comp plan will wrap up in, January, I think is when they're supposed to be done, but. Well, we can adjourn the meeting and then
Okay.
I'll go through the fire department over there.
Let's adjourn and then we can talk about it. So, all right.
I'm,
Sorry.
what do I have to do with that?
No.
No, you're at the end of the agenda,
Sorry.
so.
Okay, all right. So,
I'm just curious
Okay,
what
yeah.
we normally do, so.